thoracic cage, we are going to mainly focus on these many landmarks. So in that, the first landmark, which is the suprasternal notch. So as you can see a photo on your screen right now, so in that I have marked the suprasternal notch, and I have also mentioned that it is also known as the jugular notch. This jugular notch, first of all, it is palpable. It lies at the superior border of the manubrium sterni, and we can palpate it over here, and it lies between the two medial ends of the clavicle. Next thing is the sternal angle. So the sternal angle, which is the second important landmark. So in this sternal angle, also known as the angle of Lois, this angle of Lois, which lies 5 centimeters inferior to the suprasternal notch. Third is the xiphoid process. Now the xiphoid process, which is the inferior portion of the sternum bone. So xiphoid process, sternal angle, and the suprasternal notch. So we must remember the level of the vertebral bodies, that suprasternal notch, anteriorly we can palpate it, but posteriorly it lies at the lower border of the second thoracic vertebra. Let me write it over here. Lies at the lower border of the second thoracic vertebra. Next thing is the sternal angle, or the angle of Lois. So which lies midway between the 4th and the 5th thoracic spine. And the xiphoid process, which is in the level of the T9, that is the 9th thoracic vertebra. So we must remember these 3 levels: suprasternal notch, second thoracic, sternal angle, that is between the T4th and 5th thoracic vertebra, and the xiphoid process, that is the 9th thoracic vertebra. Now comes the ribs. So ribs, as we all know, there are total 24 ribs, 12 on each side. And now the ribs, they are not connected directly with the sternum, right? So we have costal cartilages also. So costal cartilage, it is the structure which lies between the sternum and the rib. So with the sternum, it forms a joint known as the chondrosternal joint, and the another end of the cartilage which forms a joint lateral to the chondrosternal joint, that is the costochondral joint. And the ribs, they are also attached with the vertebra posteriorly with the 2 different joints. So a rib with its posterior end, it forms a joint with the vertebral body, that is the costovertebral joint, and with the transverse process of the thoracic vertebra, which is the costotransverse joint. Later in videos, I will discuss about these 2 joints in detail. Next thing is the thoracic vertebral spine. So in the thoracic vertebral spines, as we know that there are 12 thoracic vertebrae. Now in this 12 thoracic vertebrae, the posterolateral part, so which is covered by the presence of scapula. So posterolateral portion of the thorax, as it is covered, so we must remember that how many ribs they are covered by the scapula. So do remember the thing, that is rib number 2 to 7. Rib number 2 to 7, they are covered by the anterior surface of the scapula and posterolateral surface of the thorax. And another thing that we need to remember, that third thoracic vertebra, that is the T3, which comes at the level of the spine of scapula, and the 7th thoracic vertebra, which comes, that is inferior angle of scapula. So these all were the bony landmarks of the thorax. So again, let us revise. There are total 6 landmarks that we need to remember: suprasternal notch, sternal angle, xiphoid process, ribs, costal cartilages, and the thoracic vertebral spine. Now comes about the soft tissue. Soft tissue, we need to remember 3 things. That is, first is the nipple level. Now the nipple level, it varies considerably in females, but the actual level, that is the 4th intercostal space. That is the 4th intercostal space. In short, I write it as a 4th ICS. Now comes the apex beat. Now the apex beat, we need to understand that apex beat, so over which we can palpate the or auscultate the heartbeat, right? So apex beat, which lies in the fifth intercostal space, and the last one, that is the trachea. So the trachea, a palpable structure at the suprasternal notch, just above the suprasternal notch. If you palpate, you can easily trace the trachea. Now one thing that we need to remember, that whenever we are going for the surface landmarks of the thorax, there are three lines that we need to remember. So now as you can see the diagram on your screen, that first is the mid-clavicular line. Now this mid-clavicular line, which starts from the midpoint of the clavicle, right, and it goes and up to the 9th costal cartilage, and then it goes downwards in the inferior direction up to the mid-inguinal point. That is the mid-clavicular line. Now the nipple and the apex beat, which lies medial to the mid-clavicular line, and as you can see in the diagram, that the nipple lies 10 centimeters away from the mid-sternal line. So mid-sternal line I can consider as a midline of the body. So the nipple level from the midline of the body, it lies 10 centimeter lateral, and the apex beat lies the 9 centimeter lateral to it, right? And next thing is the mid-axillary line. Now the mid-axillary line, where is the line which starts from the between the both the folds of the axilla, and the last one, that is the posterior lines which is going downwards from the inferior angle of the scapula. So this was all about the basics of the thoracic cage. In my further videos I'm going to explain all these things in detail. So do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching the video till end. Thank you so much.